Okay, a couple of attendees have already joined us. Okay, I think we can begin the session and more people will keep joining in as we go along. Just give, just give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's start and we will have more attendees as we go along. They can join in later. So first of all,
Yeah, sure.
thank you so much to all the attendees who have joined us here in this session today. I think you all must be already aware what the session is about, but I'll just give you a brief. So basically, we will be discussing about getting started with open source contributions, and the focus will be more on Git and GitHub. So what we will be overall covering is that, what exactly is version control, some Git and GitHub fundamentals, what they are, how they are used, and, some basic Git commands that you should know of, and some important resources that will help you in this journey of starting open source contributions and, using Git and GitHub for the same. So I'm quite happy to introduce Aditya Tyagi, who's going to be the speaker of the session today. He's basically a part of the iOS development team at Springworks, and he collaborates with cross-functional teams to, deliver high quality code, design and testing, and his specialization is into Swift. He also has contributed into many open source projects on GitHub, like Brave iOS, Adobe Experience Core iOS, SDK, Realm Swift, and Nextcloud iOS, and so on and so forth. So he is basically the perfect person to deliver today's session, and I would request all of you to capitalize on his expertise and ask as many questions as you can and post those questions in the Q&A box so that we can take it up after Aditya is done with his presentation. So Aditya, please begin the presentation, and then later on we'll take the questions after you're done.
Okay, so yeah, thank you so much for such a introduction. Thanks to everyone who has joined. And yeah, so we'll start with a topic today. We have this topic, beginner friendly introduction, something like that, with GitHub, Git, and version control. So I'll start my presentation, which I made some 2 years back, and I'll just repeat it with you guys, which is really helpful. So our topic today is first we'll go with version control, Git and GitHub, how it all started, and then we'll move forward with Git and basic Git commands. We'll see. Apart from that, we'll see what is the importance of open source contributions, as you are watching on LinkedIn and all. There's everyone is talking about open source and how to get a remote job and all that. So we'll discuss about that as well. Then I will give you some tutorial courses or people who I follow, so that you guys can follow them. Okay, so let's start with my introduction. Yeah, I'm basically a CSC senior student at IIIT Kottayam, and right now I'm working in the iOS team at Springworks. So I started my GitHub journey back in the very first semester of my college. It was during COVID, and I have contributed to various organizations. Okay, so that was all for me. Okay, I'll start with Git. So, what is Git? And I will give you a definition. What is a formal definition, first of all? So, Git is a version control system that allows developers to keep track of changes made to their code over time. So that means first we'll go with what is version control. So Git is a version control. Version control was it was kind of a, you can say, a tool that was developed in some around mid of like 2005 around, and it was made by this guy Linus, who was having problem with I'll start with very basic question first. So, for example, you are working on a very large code base, and there are various developers working on that, and they have all their different functionalities. So he saw that uh, you can't work on a single code in in a number, in a group of people can't do that. So it was difficult because, for example, uh, one guy made a change in some code line, and the another guy don't have this, like, he don't know what the changes he made, what the changes the other guy has made, and like whenever they will merge them in the server, that will create conflicts. So it was a problem. It was a bigger problem, and basically the software industry was rising, and like softwares were becoming big and big. So it started becoming a big bit of problem, and there was not any standard open source tool for that. So it was created. So Git was created after that, and it solved these issues. And how it solved it? So like you will see, Git is used to track change in the source codes. For example, we have a bigger software, and so who is doing what in that code. So it was keep track by using Git. So every developer now has an entire copy of the code. So for example, I'm working on some software. I take that code, I started working on it, and I made some changes. So now Git will keep track, and every other developer who is working there will have a track, will know that what I'm working on and what are the changes I have made. Is there any conflict or no? So those kind of things are tracked, and it saves time, it saves resources, because otherwise there will be like thousands and thousands of merge conflicts every day. Like that much bigger software are there in industry. So this was the basic fundamental of Git, and this was all about Git. This is how it started, and it has now we'll go into the deep of this tool. So see this image. So for example, the software is this master branch. We are working on this master branch, and I pulled some code for me. I take a clone for that, and I started working on it, and I then merged it into the main branch. Similarly, some other developer started working on it, and he merged it. So in this way, like we have a track of what and where the software is going, where we are heading to as a team. So this was, in simple word, Git was. Now we'll see the commands of Git. So Git is also open source, and you can also install it in every system. So I'll go with this. I'll show you guys the commands. So first of all, if you're not having Git, you can use these commands. These are for basically Linux. Like for Windows, we have different commands, but yeah, install Git you have to do, and you have to like keep a Git in your system so that you can work like easily. Now, the very famous command we have is git clone. So we'll move forward, and we'll see in GitHub also we'll need git clone as well, which is really like you'll be using clone. Like it's the most basic thing. When you start working on something, you just take a clone of that. So for example, you can see in the left there is an original repository. This original software is there, and you cloned it. You made a clone of that for your personal system, for your local machine, so that you can work on this. So this was this command you use. So you type in the terminal git clone and all that. That I'll show you in some time. Let's move forward. And yeah, so the major commands, so the basic and major commands we use in every day, I personally also use them, are git pull, commit, push, and merge. So pull means we take a pull in our copy. We take the fresh changes that are made in the remote repository, and we take those changes. Then we made some commits. We add our own code, whatever we are working on. We make the changes, and then we commit them. So commit means those changes are saved in our system, and these commits are tracked by this central repository. So they will like track what commits are happening in which repository, in which branch. Then you make a push. You make the like in the remote repository, you want to push those changes that you think are correct, and it will work. Then you will merge them, and like is there any if there any conflict? For example, some guy is working on the same line of code as you are working, and you have made some changes, and he has made some changes. So there will be conflicts. So you have to resolve them, and all that you have to do, and after that your code will be merged. So this is the whole like timeline of you can say version control or a Git. Now let's move forward with GitHub. I think before that, if we can see the like real-time execution of Git commands. I'll show you guys. So I'll start with the very first thing is I'm expecting that you guys have Git installed, or you can install by those commands we saw in the previous line. So for example, I'm working on some software. I will open that. So so I'll go in my repository, which is I'm working right now on this repository. So I will open this. And I think I have to go in. It is visible to everyone. Yeah. Okay, so now I will open this main code base. Okay, so we have multiple files here. I will open this in my Xcode as well, like the IDE, so that I can show you guys clearly like what happens when we use commands. Okay, so yeah, this is this is our code base. And right now, for example, okay, so now this repository I have, and there is a remote repository on GitHub. So I have this repository and I want to add some changes. I want to do some changes. So for example, in this view, I'll make some changes. Let's do those changes. And I remove this line. I have made some changes. See, you can see that this is the change I have made. I have removed that line. So that means I have made some changes. Now what I can do is I can just like add those changes. In this repo, I can git add. I'll add my changes.
Aditya, can you just zoom in a little? There's someone who
Okay, I
has
guess, yeah.
suggested that if you can increase the font size.
Okay, sure.
I think this
Sorry
is
for that.
perfect. Yeah.
I think it has to be, yeah. Okay, so now I have added my changes in the staged. I have changed, I have staged my changes, which I have made. I have used this command. My changes are staged. And now if I'll use git commit, these changes will be committed. Now I can add messages as well. Like if I want to show like what are the changes I have made. So I'll add a message and the message will be like, for example, initial changes. So this command I'll make and this will be committed. So you can see these are the changes that are committed. Now you can just directly push them. If there are conflicts, like there will be the system will tell you there are conflicts. Someone other has also changed. Otherwise, it will be just directly push. So see, in the remote, I have pushed my changes on GitHub.com. I have a repository. On in the main branch, I have pushed my changes. So this is the way like we do in the in this git commands. So this is all about git commands. I think these are the most basic commands you will use. These are the like highly you'll be using it every day. If you are in working in some company, you'll be using them every day. Okay, now let's see what GitHub is. So like Git and GitHub are different, first of all. So like we'll see what GitHub is. So GitHub is a website that provides hosting for Git repositories. It means like I can host my repositories, I can host my software, I can host my code base on GitHub for free, and I can collab with other developers. I can store their code and track issues and bugs and all that. So this is the main purpose of GitHub. Developers can use GitHub to create their own repository. Yeah, like for example, I have made this repository and I'm posting it. I'm hosting it on GitHub. So this is how this is where GitHub is used. So almost like there are like almost all the softwares which are open source or which are there. They are hosted on GitHub. So you can go and check them out. Okay, now let's move forward with the interface. So we'll try to understand what the interface of GitHub is. Let's move to the GitHub. Yeah, and close all these tabs. Okay. So first of all, if you are in the first year or second year, try to be like somewhat active on GitHub and try to engage with other your batchmates or on all of them or your seniors. Try to follow them because for me, like I started following my seniors, and that's how I started GitHub. So try to be a bit of more active on GitHub, even if you're not doing anything. Just track people, track what others are doing, so that you also learn a lot. So I'll come to my profile. Yeah. So like you have repositories here. You have your code bases, which can be different. Like right now, I was working on this. I have just updated it 2 minutes ago. So this is how you have different code bases I have worked on until now. They all are there. So these all changes are there. Now companies have like big projects they are working on. Like a large number of developers are working on those projects. So this feature is for them, and you can even search for like repositories here in the search bar for like whatever you want, iOS, Android, or like whatever you want. You can search out that. You can create new repositories, or you can new just as well new code space or whatever you want to start. It's free, and you can use it. Apart from that, like there are various features which you will see when you go deep, when you start working on GitHub very deeply. You will try to realize like those are made for like for enterprise scale. Those are the features, but for us it is all for the people who are students right now. Okay, so like this will be the your contributions chart, which motivates you somewhat. And this all is there. Like this is the interface, and it's not that it's not that hard to understand it. It's simple. Apart from that, let's move now forward to okay, open source software. So we have done Git, we have done version control system, we have done GitHub. Now let's move forward to open source software. So open source, what is open source? So basically, open source software is a software with source code that everyone can inspect, modify, and enhance. That is like formal definition. But open source software is like anyone can go, anyone can check the code base, anyone can see the lines of code on which like he or she wants to work. Anyone can use them. It's free. They are not like there is no royalty or anything on that. They are not under some big organization. They're like free of cost and available to everyone. So this is the main motto of open source softwares. So we use various open source software in our day to day life. For example, the most famous one, VLC player or Blender, some people use. So like Mozilla, Brave, DuckDuckGo, there are a lot of open source software which we use, whose code bases are available on internet on GitHub. You can go and check it out. So that is all. Now, like, why should someone do open source? So like, I'll start with this third point. So like, I have 4 points from my side. Like my experiences, like we have four things which are important, which like we earn from open source. So first thing is gaining skills and experiences. So we'll start with gaining skills. So I'll give my example. So I was working on one framework. Let's say it was Swift UI in my day-to-day life, in my job right now, and everywhere I use Swift UI. But I want to also learn UI Kit, which is another famous framework. So what I can do is I can go to some repositories. I can work on UI Kit code. I can understand. I can work with the developers, moderators working there. I can learn different architecture. They different apps have different libraries they're using, languages and all that. And the most important thing is you are exposed to different coding styles. You got to know like no like there are different coding styles. This way you can do the same thing. These things. So like you got a lot of experience, real time experience. Like senior developers are working there, and you learned a lot. You like it's huge amount of like your learning curve is just exponential if you do open source. Then we go to again, yeah. So the main reason of open source should be first of all giving back to the community. That means we are using open source software. So, for example, see Brave browser. Brave browser we use, like it is one of the most secure browser we say. And if we as a developer we take our responsibility, we want to fix any bug we see in the Brave. We are seeing like, this is the glitch, this is the bug. Here the app is crashing. We can go back to the code and we can serve that community, open source community. So we should like we do it as our responsibility. So that is the case, and these are the main open source tools that I use. Coming to the next side project. So, like for example, I do a job. I have a job from 9 to 5. But apart from that, whenever I get time, I do my personal projects. I make them open source. Uh, I post them on like medium.com, and I ask people like what they want to contribute to, and I even myself I contribute to various projects like Nextcloud. I'm like from last 3 months I'm heavily contributing to Nextcloud. Maybe in some next week or something I'll be making a PR means pull request, which I'll tell you now. Next is reputation and recognition. So like as an Indian student, we are first of all our priority is to get a job. So it also helps in that. So for example, you have a nice GitHub portfolio. So like it will help you to you stand out from a like really big crowd. So you can stand out in front of the HR or anyone who is looking for a person in that domain. Second is there's a Google Summer of Code. Everyone must be knowing this. So which is a program, rewarding program. Like it has many benefits. So like you have a good stipend and you have a good portfolio reputation, you can easily get a job if you are just a GSOC guy. And if there is anything related to GSOC in your CV, you can easily get a job. There is no even in today's difficult times. So that is the case. Coming to the third point, there are high chances of as I've added these things. Like for example, I'm working on something. For example, you're working on DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo, you must be knowing that is alternative of Google, one of the safest. So, for example, you are making some changes in DuckDuckGo. So there are high chances that they can hire you. And being hired by DuckDuckGo means like it's a jackpot. Like you have remote work-life balance, like a high and salary. So like if you're continuously working for them, continuously solving bugs, resolving issues, you are in direct contact with the moderators, senior developers. So whenever there will be any position, like there will be any position for same position, same profile, they will easily hire you. Like they will just directly take you. So that is the case. And yeah, this was all about open source. Uh, and these are the blogs like which I prefer basically. And hackathons, Google Summer of Code, Hacktoberfest, you can go and check them out. So there will be like a Hacktober cases. So like, you can go there and do changes, resolve issues, and it will be motivating. And that's all. Now I think I should go with the one of the most basic thing, which is I'll show you guys how to make an open source contribution. I'll not use any popular repository because recently some of my college thing has made an Express.js and it was not good. That was a bad thing. So for example, I go to some repository. I'll show you. So many of the people ask me like how to start open source. So I will tell them the exact way of how I started and how can they start. So I'll go to search bar and I will search. For example, my domain is iOS, and for example, someone is coming from Android. So I'll search Android and I will see like what are the repositories there. So for example, you can see this on cloud Android app. So this app was updated recently by moderators, and then this next cloud app is there. Then these apps are there. DuckDuckGo, for example, see DuckDuckGo. I'll open this. So there is a whole team of contributors like who are working like just recently 1 hour ago only there was a commit. So like what you can do is you are doing Android and you want to contribute to this project. So you can just directly clone it, fork it, and clone it in your system. and try to build it. How to build it? There will be documentation. See, they're hiring as well. So like I'm saying, like I was saying, it's really easy for anyone to get hired through open source. Now, how to build the project? So you can use this command git clone as I told in your terminal or command prompt wherever, and you can download the whole code base, and then you can start building it. So many of the people, many of the students, uh, almost 99% of the people who are new to the open source, they get stuck at the beginning, at the building phase. They don't know how to build, and when they know, it's a lengthy task. Basically, it's the most lengthy task, and it is like a hectic thing. Like the person get like pissed off, and he just left it. So what you have to do is you have to try to be patientful and be in the sense like you have to at least give 2 weeks to build it. For me, I suggest like just try to give 2 weeks for particularly building the project, and after building you can come here, see the issues which right now are open. For example, this is the issue which is opened by some guy. Google broke DuckDuckGo browser agent. So this was the issue, and now a team is working on it. For example, if I want to work on it, so what I can do is I can comment here, please assign this tasks to me. I can understand the code better for this particular thing, and I can work on it. So this moderator who is there, the guy who's working on it, can assign you. He will assign you, and you can start working on this. And whenever you have made some changes, you have done some changes in your local repository, you can make a PR. PR means pull request. You are requesting the moderator to take a pull, to take that code from your repository, which will solve that issue. So for example, this guy has opened this PR 2 hours ago. He has made some changes, and these are the commits, and these are the files that he has changed. You can see that older code was there, and the recent code is here, and he has made a PR. So the moderator will verify it first. So it has to be verified. So you can see that review required. The guy who is above him, the senior developer, will verify the build, like if it is working fine or it is resolving any issue, legit issue, and then they will merge it. So in this way, code will be your push changes will be merged. So for example, you can see this is the merged PR. So this code, the whatever changes he had made are now live in the app. So this is like the main interface. This is how GitHub works. And yeah, like I'll suggest everyone to go dive deep in it, and for sure it will be beneficial. Like it will not give you result in some 2 days or 2 weeks. It will take time, but yeah, like the fruits will be for sure better and rewarding. Yeah, that's what. So that is all. And if you guys have any question, anything, I'll post these links in description in the this chat box, so you guys can see that. Yeah, that was all.
Okay. We don't see, I have not seen any question posted so far. So
Okay.
we would really appreciate that if someone has anything to ask in regarding what Aditya shared. If you have any doubts, let us know. Meanwhile, I am just sharing a quick feedback poll in here for the attendees. I would request if you want to just let us know that if the session was helpful to you and if you would recommend it to your friends as well. So this poll sort of helps us understand that whether the content is good, whether such topics are working for you or not. So, yeah, so I don't see any more any questions as of now. Just reminding you, this is one of the chances that you can get your doubts cleared. But apart from that, if you want to go back to this session, if you missed something out, then I'm just posting the YouTube link here in the chat window, so that you guys can go back to it, and you have the session somewhere recorded. So Yeah, that's all. I mean, we have a few people who have answered to the poll. I would request the other people also, I mean, who has not given us their feedback, would request them to share their feedback with us. So, yeah, so I think that is it. Aditya, we don't see any questions. Thank you so much, Aditya, for coming on board. Okay, just a minute. I think, yeah, there is one question, Aditya. Can you tell
Yeah,
us or show how to integrate with Jenkins build pipeline?
basically, Jenkins build pipeline, that is a deeper question, and I guess this session was a I told in the middle, like there are tools which will go deep. So it's a friendly thing and like beginner friendly thing. And Jenkins, I guess most probably no one will require that. So that is all. For me, like I haven't required it until now in open source. So that's why I have no idea about that. Maybe like
Okay.
it's easy. Like you can just search out on GitHub docs.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Thanks for the answer. Okay. So the person who has asked has just acknowledged. I was just seeing that there was a new comment on the chat box. So yeah, that is it, I guess, because we don't have any more questions. As I was saying, thank you so much, Aditya, for taking all the time, coming on board, and sharing your insights with us. Thank you so much to all the attendees who attended. I can see that you guys have also shared your feedback with us. Thank you. I'm just ending the poll now. And as a reminder, if you want to go back to the session, you can just do so on the YouTube link share. So, yeah, thank you so much, Aditya, once again.
thank you so